The Trek Roscoe 7. I've had this bike for about 4 months now. The honeymoon phase is over. There's 4 things I absolutely love about this bike, and there's 4 things that we have got to talk about. The honeymoon phase is never an accurate representation of how reality actually is. For instance, remember that person that came into your life previously? You know the one I'm talking about. The first few months, everything was awesome because you were blissfully ignoring every single one of their red flags. I really wanted to give it enough time to really get a lot of rides under my belt to make sure that I was given every effort I could to give you an honest review of it. All right, let's kick this video off with the things I do not and cannot stand about the Trek Roscoe 7. Everyone's gonna agree with me and say the same thing. The stock pedals gotta go. The stock grips gotta go along with them. I decided to upgrade mine with PNW Components Loam cement colored grips and the cement colored pedals. The first batch of pedals I got had an issue. One of the bearings must have been busted inside of it. The tolerances were really, really loose, and it was just really bad. So P&W did a really good job with sending me out a replacement set, but kind of upset about that. Also, not for nothing, I don't know who else this would bother, but it bothers me. But they don't give you stickers in the box, which is kind of nuts. I mean, I've bought in like $12 headset spacers or $6 headset spacers, and they come with stickers. I've gotten free stickers from bike shops. You know, P&W, put some stickers in there. I even emailed them, and they said, nope, we don't send stickers out. Yeah, I'm a little bit bitter about that. So let's move on to the brakes. A lot of people trash the Shimano MT200s, but let me tell you, coming from a Walmart mechanical disc bike, the MT200s are your entry-level hydraulic disc brakes. I like them. They're pretty awesome. To me, they stop really, really well. They do exactly what I need them to do. I don't think I'm going to upgrade them anytime soon, but let's talk about a little bit of a tolerance problem. On my rear brake lever, you can see that it moves. There's a lot of play in the lever. My front brake, there is no play. It's pretty tightly spec'd. The Trans X dropper post. I didn't think I really needed a dropper post. I was kind of surprised. However, it took a couple rides to realize that the dropper post has a lot of play in it as well. And it's not the play that you would think. It's pretty solid. It doesn't sag under pressure. I haven't had any issues with it sticking like some people have mentioned, but I have mentioned a little bit of wiggle from left to right when you're sitting on it. It doesn't seem like it would make that big of a deal, but when you're riding and you're going up a hill and your butt is moving on the seat, you feel it. And it just makes you think that something is going to break, and it just feels a little bit cheap. Drivetrain noise. I don't know what the hell this noise is. I really appreciate the super, super low gear under these leaves. It sounds like it's coming from the bottom bracket, maybe the drivetrain. Every once in a while, I'll be in the second to lowest gear, and sometimes it happens while it's under tension. Full disclosure, I have cleaned the chain, I have lubed the chain, the drivetrain, all that good stuff, and I still have this random noise happening. Okay, so I think that's fair. I think that's enough about the bad stuff. No. One thing I did notice, and this is more like a maintenance or an adjustment problem, not necessarily a design flaw or anything, but as you can see, when I'm in the lowest gear, the derailleur cable kind of smacks up against the chain. I'm sure this is just a little bit of an adjustment. And there's one more thing that just started happening just the other day when I took my bike out onto a ride. The suspension fork, right? The RockShox Recon has an adjustment to where you can lock the air fork out and it won't travel nearly as much as if it was unlocked, which is a really nice thing. We'll get to that later. I noticed recently when I go to lock my fork, it's not locking. I have to unlock it and lock it a couple times in order for it to lock. Sometimes I've even gotten off my bike to make sure that there's no pressure on the front end, locked it, and still it wouldn't lock out. Not sure what that's about. If you think you know what that might be, leave it in a comment for me and I'll look into it, but I really appreciate you guys. Check this link out if you didn't already see my initial review of when I first got the bike. All right, so that's enough about the bad things, the things I can't stand. Let's talk about the positive things that I absolutely love about this bike. The first thing I want to talk about is this suspension fork. Oh my gosh. Coming from a Walmart bike with a no-name brand, heavy steel coil fork, wow, what a difference. It's like having a Nissan Sentra and then jumping into a Cadillac CTS. Worlds different. So comfortable, so quiet. The lockout's totally different as well. With the Walmart bikes or the cheaper entry-level bikes, you only have a lever, unlocked or locked. Once you lock it, it's a hard stop. With the RockShox Recon, there's actually 5 detents from unlocked to locked. When it's fully locked, you can see here that you still have a little bit of movement. And what this is for is in case you're on the trail like me and you forget to unlock your fork after you've climbed the mountain and you start to descend, this possibly eliminates you from getting hurt. Either way, I love it. I haven't missed a absolute full stop lockout. I don't think it's necessary. The Recon fork is tunable for rebound. I haven't messed with that yet, but truth be told, I have gotten an air shock pump and I have set it to my weight. It was very, very world of a difference between when I got it and whoever that was set for versus me setting it to my body weight. The second thing I want to talk about is these Shimano MT200s. I think they're fantastic. Aside from the issue that I talked about with the negatives, I think they're great. They stop. They're super quiet compared to my Walmart bike. I thought because of my wife's bike and my Walmart bike previously that disc brakes just made noise, and that's just how it was. But when I got my Roscoe 7, I couldn't believe how quiet they were. Probably, in my opinion, I think they're quieter than V brakes or cantilever brakes or any brakes that I've had previously with BMX. Now, what I really enjoy about the brakes is the fact that they're hydraulic. I like to be a one-finger brake person, maybe 2 at times. You can't do that with mechanical brakes, at least from what I experienced. You can't do that. Your whole hand on them. And I got small hands too, so I can pull on the brakes really easy, really fast. I don't have a lot of hand fatigue when I'm riding 6, 7, 8, 9 miles. Totally enjoyable. The third thing I want to talk about is how much lighter this bike is. I haven't weighed anything, but there is a very big difference between my Schwinn Axum with tube tires and a steel fork and a steel seat tube versus the Trek, which is all aluminum frames, RockShox Recon air fork, lighter chain, better components. It's a big difference, especially with me loading the bike on and off the truck. I can feel a big difference. Last but not least, I want to talk about how amazing it is to have a dropper post. If you remember my initial review, I wasn't too crazy about a dropper post. I said in that review, I'm pretty sure that, you know, it's not really a necessity for me. It's just one of those things that are like, oh, this is nice to have. Until I almost busted my rear going off a jump when I forgot to put down the dropper post. That was a wake-up call. As far as the dropper post is concerned, I initially really underestimated its usefulness a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, we have some things that we love and I have some things that I absolutely can't stand, but I still think that this bike was totally worth the money. Because I came from a Walmart bike to this Trek Roscoe 7, it made me appreciate things a whole lot more. How much lighter the bike is, how much quieter the bike is, what a dropper post actually is and why it matters. Despite the things that I don't like can all be changed. And by the way, I haven't taken this bike in for its first checkup and tune-up yet. So I'll talk to Trek about these 4 things and I'll get back to you whether or not these things are something that is an issue with the bike or something that they can just adjust and fix. Speaking of my initial review that you can find up here, let's talk about the Shimano Dior drivetrain that I mistakenly said you can go down 2 gears at a time and 1 gear up. Actually, you can go down 3 gears at a time, but my thumb is kind of small, my hands are kind of small, and I can't get to that 3rd click like some of you can. Don't hate me for it. I just wanted to make sure we were clear. All right, enough talking. I'm gonna go ride my bike. Check out these videos. Peace.